DeerB Civil Service Academy, and my name is Aswathy. In today's episode, we are going to discuss about the Hindu newspaper in brief. So yes, the front page consists of all the national important news and information, and on the lower part we are having the advertisements, of course, because they need revenue also. So the first page, we're going to read the news. That is, it's about the panel study about the Supreme, that is especially the scheduled caste tribes who had lots of serious oppressions, that they have lots of humiliations they had to endure in their life, and they had converted into a different religion. So right now the question is that, do we still need to give them the consideration or the reservations of scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, especially the scheduled caste for now, right now? And we're having a panel to study into it, and they have 2 years of long term to submit a report on that. That is, for example, if a low caste or a Hindu low caste person is being converted to Christianity, does that person still have the reservations of scheduled caste, or does that person still get the privileges of a scheduled caste? So that is the question now here in hand. And the next one is, of course, we're having the Ukraine and the Russian war going on. So I'm really hoping that maybe in the near future there will be an end to it, or at least they'll be resolving the solution, or everything will be get over right now. And the pages following that is all of the region and the state-wise news. I'm going to skip that because my region news are not important. Mind you, for civil services, all the national and the international, especially the national prominent news, are the ones that you have to study thoroughly, make notes, and have a clear clarity about it. The other regional news and statewide news are not important right now. Maybe for your interview, they might ask questions regarding the same. But for the prelims and mains perspective, please kindly skip that. You could just get on with the headlines, or maybe watch any local regional news channel. I think that will suffice. But right now, do not waste you much time, because we can take only I would say 1 to 1.5 hours for reading newspapers or current affairs, but do not consume more amount of time for that, because we are having lots of static informations as well to cover for the day. Yes, I'm going to start with the editorials. I think page number 8, it's a very brilliant one. I would really suggest you to go through it. I'll give you a gist of what it is. It's about how Tamil Nadu, or South India, I would say, Dravidian culture, how they're having lots of urban centers. For example, in Maharashtra, we have just 4 or 5, hardly 3 urban centers. But in Tamil Nadu, or most of South Indian states, I would say, almost of the cities and centers are urbanized. So there is a holistic improvement rather than concentrating in one or few cities, and there is a complete development, in an all-round development for all these cities, and that's how we have these states being urbanized rather than being just isolated cities and 1 or 2 urban centers. So this is a series of how Tamil Nadu came into the growth, how these urban, more importantly, how these rural households became to be called to be an urban households. So that is what being said over here. And then the other editorial is about the atrophy of neo-Buddhist movement in India. That is, we have a special day coming up on October 14. It's a very important day as far as the civil services is concerned, because that was a day when a constitution maker, that is father of a constitution, to be Ambedkar, he converted millions and millions of people into Buddhism in a hope that, they'll be free from these forms of caste discriminations and the other ill effects to be followed from these caste segregations. But unfortunately, we have Buddhism as a religion to be a very minority, that is the most smallest minority community, and that's being talked about over here. And the next page, I guess it's about your astrophysics, and more importantly, this comes under your science and technology, page number 9. Kindly go through that. And one more thing is that, while you make notes, do not make much notes about your editorials. And you must have noticed that I didn't spend much time in the editorials as such, because the reason is that they are just suggestions, or more importantly, opinions by some people, and it should be true or it shouldn't be true. I mean, we are not for certain. But the general idea is that it's an opinion by someone, so we should just read it as if someone's opinion or someone's suggestions on a certain matter. So just read it in that sense. Do not take notes. If you're finding any factual information, kindly cross-check and then take down the notes, because they might be blown out of proportions, and it might be their emotions speaking. Yes. Now, government seeks Chief Justice India's recommendations appointment of successor. Yes. So I really want you to know that for your civil services, how to read a newspaper. Basically, read news which is of your syllabus concern. Like I think I've said in most of my videos is that in your study room, in whichever place that you have, please stick your syllabus onto the wall. The reason why I'm saying is that whenever you find a news, just cross check with your syllabus. Does this comes under my syllabus, or should I read through it, or is that needed? If not, please skip it. Okay. And then informations about Uday's response on party symbol dispute. No need for that. All these party political issues and someone's opinion about this person's political ambitions is not needed for your civil services. These are just again opinions. Do not go for it. And then Gyanvapi court refers orders and petitions by Hindu plaintiff. Yes, this is a major concern. That is, at present there is a mosque in Varanasi, and we don't know for certain that there is sort of like an artifact, and the Hindu claims that this is a shivling, but the Muslims are claiming that no, this is not a shivling, this is some sort of a fountain. So yes, it's a disputed place, and on the basis of that, especially, religion is a very sensitive concern. So we should also take care of it in a very sensitive manner as such. So this is regarding that. So just read through it, and when you're finding the follow-up news or follow-up verdict of what happens to it, just collect it. And then we have again Bharat Jodo assembly poll. No need for that. Just read through it. Just skip it completely. No issues, no offense. You want to read the headlines? Fine, good. Or just watch the local channel, that would be good enough. And then we have India objects to recent visit of US ambassador to POK. So we know that POK, that is, this was supposed to be our Indian territory, but what happened to POK? Pakistan occupied Kashmir, and that is what the elaborations of POK. So these Pakistanis allegedly came into our territory and occupied all these places, and now they have a new name for Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh, which is Azad Kashmir. And this is uncalled for, because this is something that we already have a claim on to, but still they are putting on a different name and saying that they are the ones who are supposed to get it and they are the true owners of the place. And we are condemning the US visit because they are visiting the Pakistani region, and they are planning to come to POK from the Pakistani side. They are not coming here as a separate individual, but they are being as a guest of Pakistan and then coming and visit POK. Of course, the US visit, the US officials and the representatives, their opinions are gonna be sort of like biased, if I would say, because why? Because they are being the guest of Pakistan. And then yes, 6 Indian prisoners died in Pakistan. I would say that especially in places like in Tamil Nadu and the borders of the northwestern frontier provinces, we are saying is that because these are the places where the boundaries are very blurred. Okay, we have Rohingya infiltrations as such, and especially in Tamil Nadu or all these coastal areas of Tamil Nadu, these poor fishermen folks, when they accidentally trespass the national boundary of the oceans, what happens? They are being captured by these coast guards of Sri Lanka. So same thing happened over here in Pakistan as well. When they're poor farmers, when they have no idea, no clue where the boundary ends or what is the boundary, what happens to them? They cross the boundary and then they get captured. You all must have seen that movie of Aishwarya Rai and Randeep Hooda, where he accidentally crossed the boundary and he was captured by the Pakistan militants. It's very unfortunate. And it's said over here is that 6 Indian prisoners died in Pakistan. Okay, their jail term was over. But despite these facts, they are still caught and they are still kept in there, and they eventually died. And 5 of 6 Indians were fishermen. And yes, this is also very unfortunate. What happens, these people are very illiterate and uneducated. They wouldn't have clarity where you can't draw the border on oceans and seas. So they cross it and then they get killed, or they kept in the confinements of the jails of these different foreign nations. And that's what happened over here. It's very unfortunate. The next news is that India-UK free trade pact may miss October deadline. So we are supposed to have a trade pact or a trade arrangements with the UK and India, but we were hoping, actually rooting for the Diwali, because that might really benefit us, especially the North India and the Middle India as well, because Diwali as such is a very important festival for the whole of nation. But I think even the UK representatives, they are saying is that they're aiming for the quality rather than the quantity. So we can expect that to get delayed maybe by the end of this year, but not before Diwali. Yes, of course. See, I'm giving you just a gist of it so that when you read the newspaper, you'll get the clarity. I am not sort of like giving you spoon-feeded information, because I feel is that civil services is a very big battle. And I can only give you the help or the needed push that you all require. But giving you more than that will make you much more lazy. So that is a problem. And yeah. And then we having Uttarkashi avalanche toll hits 26 search of 3 missing persons. This was as part of a training. People were training on part of the mountaineering, and unfortunately a very huge avalanche hit them, and few people are dead and some of it are missing. So we still have 3 bodies missing, and I'm saying bodies because it's definite that they are dead because of the temperature. And yes, so many unfortunate incidents happening today. And the next one is the news. India can lead G20 on education, climate and debt sustainability. So this is said by the US representative. And yes, so I'm saying this is because G20 is an international organization, and there are 20 nations being associated to it, and that is the reason why I'm saying is that. And for them, any organizations will be having their own forms of hopes, aspirations, and they'll be having objectives as such. But more importantly, every time they meet and constitute, every nations when they come together, they'll be having a series of short-term or immediate goals that they have to achieve. But right now, G20s are aiming for education, climate and debt sustainability. Why? Debt, we know that Venezuela, Sri Lanka are in like deep debt. And educations and climate. Climate is being in our news for the past 2 or 3 years. So just read up to it because it's very important, especially since we have ecology too as an important subject or a paper for your civil services. And then education. Ever since the COVID or the pandemic hit us, the education has taken a backseat. More importantly, the students are not being that educated at how they were supposed to be before the COVID hit us. The reasons is that, yes, of course, the digital divide. More importantly, what happened is that some students, they lost the interest, and more importantly, they don't have the resources to access all these basic materials they need for the educations. And India also has provided $4 billion to Sri Lanka, because why? They were in like deep debt. And this is not just Sri Lanka's problem, it is a world problem. Everyone has to come together to help each other, and only then we'll have a better sustainable nation. And climate change, yes, as part of Kyoto Protocol, also we having climate as a main objective and goal. But recently, like I said, for the past 2-3 years, all these international bodies and organizations, one of the main objectives will be climate change. Why? Because the climate is not in a very good, especially our carbon emission. It's passing our threshold, and this shouldn't be encouraged. And the next one is cough syrup deaths will impact India's image. This is very unfortunate incident happened in Gambia in South Africa. And what happened is that Haryana and a manufacturing company in Haryana based, they sold few cough syrups, and children died after consuming this medicine. And this is very uncalled for. Why? Because there is a series of license and tests that each brand and each medicine has to go through and has to serve us. But how come this didn't go unnoticed? How come this go unnoticed? And that is being asked over here, and this is very uncalled for, because the only thing that they could say, the only reasoning out the government could say is that this was solely meant for the export and not meant for the Indian consumption. Humans are everywhere. Okay, it doesn't matter, it's Indian humans or the other nation humans. So it shouldn't be done, especially being products like diethylene glycol and ethylene glycol. They shouldn't be added to a very large extent, and this was added, and because of the alteration, many children died. And Africa is such a place where they don't have the access to basic medicines. The basic medicines, ever since the Indian pharmacy came into the picture, that has taken off their burden, because the Indian medicines are of cheaper cost. So this was actually a very boon to them. But since it's not very safe right now regarding the cough syrup incident, they're having lots of apprehension, and this is going to affect our image on the national spectrum and also in the international spectrum. And the next one is that healthy man is obliged to provide his wife and children. This comes on the notice of the maintenance chart, especially in estranged wife and husband, when the legal battle is going on between a husband and a wife, and he is supposed to maintain in financial terms for his child or his children and his wife, and there is no other option available for this. He has to suffice, or he has to provide for his wife and child, and that is what Supreme Court verdict has said. And IARI says stubble burning is Punjab is 3-year lower, Uttar Pradesh record rise. So according to the Indian Agricultural Research Institute, the stubble burning, I would say, is that especially this season, when the peak is during the November, what happens is the stubble burning increases, and this really hampers the air quality. So right now we are finding a 3 times lower this time, but some places like Uttar Pradesh we are finding a very high rise. So we should find a few alternatives to curb that or to control that. And now we are getting into the world news. So yes, again the Ukraine news related to the Ukraine and Russia. Please read through it, because I cannot I don't think I can compact all the informations in 5-15 minutes, because that will be very unfair, because there is lots to speak about Ukraine and Russia. Probably I'll make a very full-fledged video about what is the real reason of fight or the war between Ukraine and Russia, but not now. And then we have, amid the midterms, Britain pardons American for cannabis possession. We know that America is a nation where people most of them are addicted to marijuana or cannabis or any other forms of substances. So even that shouldn't be a federal punishment or federal offense or a state offense. So he is pardoning all these people for that. And then yes, Amazon deforestation see monthly record. Amazon was in news for the 2 years before. Why? Because it caught fire, it had a very huge fire, and it seized lots of forest and trees and plants. But right now we are finding lots of deforestation, claiming to clear the land so that they can have better expanse of place. And it's actually for the urban utilization that these trees and plants were cut down. And the next one is a business page. This is especially for the public administration students who have taken public administration as your optional. Others also just read through it, because this is also important for all of us. Government kicks off IDBI bank disinvestment process. That is, we know that our government is actually disinvesting or selling off few of the shares of our public owned or government owned sectors to the private, so that they are better managed and better well kept by these private individuals. And that is the information regarding the same. And then the rest we don't have much. Yes, that's it for today's news. And then we have the sports related news. Please read through the sports page if this is of your interest, because especially for your interviews they're going to ask questions related to your interest. So it's not possible for you after you get selected for your mains and then go back a year or 2 years before and collect all the information related to sports. Don't do that. You can't possibly do that. So just see that you're going to get through all the prelims, mains, and at the end in the interview stage as well. So as soon as you see information which is in connection or relation to you, for example, I was a journalist before, so if I see any news regarding journalism or journalism for the safety and security of journalism, I am sure that I'll cut it out and keep it safe in a different folder so that I can refer in near future. So that's it for today's video. I really hope you all liked it, and thank you all so much for watching. And for more content, please click on the like button and subscribe. Bye.